Hello everybody and welcome to what is number 10 in the series, the Close Encounters music production tutorial series that I'm making. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Jason UFO, sort of known in the UK hardcore dance music scene, but but I've been doing lots of other stuff as well. If you get any value from this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell as well. That would be amazing, and also leave any comments you might have. Anyway, getting on with the video. What this video is about, as you could tell by the title, is a trick I learned actually probably 10 or plus years ago, and it's called the New York compression trick. It originated from New York City. A lot of engineers in studios in New York sort of pioneered this technique. And what it's for, it's actually used to fatten up your sounds. I mean, it's predominantly used in drums and bass, but you can use it on vocals. You can use it actually in the master. When you do your entire master of your whole mix, you could potentially use it for that as well. I've known people to use it for that. So what is the New York compression technique? Well, okay, so what I've got here, I've got some drums just playing at hardcore speed. I'll play them now. So we've got a kick drum, a snare drum, an open hat, a ride cymbal, and we've got a crash which I've got muted at the moment because we don't really need to hear it. Now what I've got it set up. Where are we? Let's have a look. Well, the four drums that we're talking about. I'll tell you what. Let's get rid of the ones we're not concerned with at the moment, so we don't get bogged down in getting complicated for no reason. Okay, so we've got 4 drum tracks and a group track. All 4 of the drums are being fed to the group track. If you don't know what I'm talking about, hit the I'll put a link up at the top of the screen right now to my groups tutorial. Go and check that out. So what it is, okay, the New York compression trick, often called the parallel compression, and it sort of is parallel compression, but it's actually a bit more than just parallel compression. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. What is parallel compression? Okay, so you've got your drums bust over to a group. What you do is to the group, you can add an effects channel, right? Which that's what it's called in Cubase. In Pro Tools, it's probably called something like an auxiliary maybe, or a bus. I'm not really sure of the terminology. But it's an aux send. It's an effects send effects. And if you don't know what send effects are, check out this link to look at send effects that I did a little while ago. So we're going to add an effects track, and we're going to call it Compressor for now. And then we add the effect. Now I'm going to you can use pretty much any compressor for this. For easiness, I'm going to use the Steinberg built-in compressor, but you can use any compressor you feel sounds right and it's got the right controls on it. We'll just use the bog standard Steinberg compressor. Okay, so we've got the track here, Compressor, with the compressor loaded in the first slot. What we want to do is send the drum track to the compressor. Okay, so how do we do that? In Cubase, what we do is, there's a few ways of doing it, but this is how I normally do it. This one's already added in, you see, compressor. So the drums are being sent to the drum group, and then the whole group is being sent to the compressor and back again. Basically, that's what's happening. Okay, so let's go back to the arrangement a minute. Let's load the compressor. Now, let me turn it down a minute. It's a little bit loud. Hold on, bear with me a second. Okay, so there we go. So there we have all of the drums being sent to this compressor, which is at the moment is not doing anything. There's no gain reduction at all. Now what we want to do, we want to over compress the whole thing. We want it to sound, basically it's got to sound horrible. You'd never have it unless you were using it as an effect on its own. Okay, so we'll put the ratio up to say 8:1. We'll give it the attack. We'll leave the attack and release alone. We'll leave everything alone. And we'll play it, and then if we bring the threshold right down. Now you hear that's pumping. It's like that's probably what we want. Over compressed. You can mess around to your own sort of flavour, but essentially what we want is it completely over compressed and pumping like that. Now what we do is, now we've set that up, if we go back to the mix console, we've got the normal uncompressed signal coming through. What we want to do is slowly add the over compressed signal, and it adds to it, and you notice it sounds, obviously it sounds louder, but it sounds fatter. I'll just mute that now. I'll mute the compressor. You hear how dead that is? Let's turn this up. Sounds cool like that at the moment, and then you add the compression in. Probably too much. Bypassed with it in. Do you hear it thicken the whole thing up and fatten it out? Very useful for making your drum sound sort of very fat and large. Now that isn't the New York trick. That is just parallel compression, what I've just showed you there. What makes it the New York compressor trick is at least one other step really. When you watch other videos on YouTube explaining what the New York compression trick is, they tend to leave this out. So what we'll do, we've got the compressor loaded in the first slot. Now what makes it the New York trick is you add an EQ after the compressor. So we'll add my old favourite, the Pro Q3. All right. So obviously in the order of things, if you don't know about plug-in ordering, have a look at this link up in the top of the screen. I'll also leave all these links in the description as well, so you can find them easy. And there's a whole video that I did about how to order your effects. Okay, so we've got the compressor in the first slot, and we've got the EQ in the second slot. So the EQ will be affecting the compressed signal. All right, so what we want to do, rough guides, as I always say in these are rough guides which I use. You can mess around and move them around to your taste. What I would like to do is add at around 100 hertz a 3 dB bump. Okay. This is just affecting the compressed signal. It's not affecting the dry signal that's coming through the group channel. And then at around anywhere sort of between, 10, 12K. Let's start off with 10K. 10K, 10,000. There we go. And we want a 3 dB bump in that as well. We don't want them in bell shapes. This is called a bell shape. What we want in the low end one, we want a shelf. Okay. And in the high one, we want our high shelf, which is sort of a high shelf. Okay. So that's what we want. We don't actually even want the cut. We've got a cut here at 30 hertz, which is my usual thing. We don't even need that. This isn't the main signal. This is the compressed signal. All right. So what we do, let's go back to the mix console. Let's have a look to see if we can see the effects channels. Right, there we go. That's the compressor channel. So that's without any, the compression's gone and the EQ's gone. I hope you can hear that. If you've got to listen to with really good headphones on or some good monitors, you will hear quite a big difference there. And if I mute the, I'll bypass the EQ, see how much difference that makes. It's very, very subtle. Very subtle. But adding that EQ actually genuinely makes it the New York compression trick. So there it is. It's a quite short video this week. I hope you got some value out of it. Don't forget, if you did, leave some comments, give some thumbs ups. Don't forget, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get told about every single video I upload. There's more to come. I've got loads planned. I've got some brilliant suggestions from other viewers, subscribers on my channel, of upcoming videos to do. So I've written a list. Let's have a look quickly. Hang on, I've got a list here. I'll give you some idea of what's coming. How to get bass tight. That'd be an interesting one. I'll probably have to make that one up as I go along. We've got leads, layering and processing. How do you get your leads layered nicely, and all of that. Good arrangement tips, things like build-ups, how to get into a breakdown, how to come out of a breakdown, all that sort of stuff. And a big one, which I'm going to have to wait till I get my Singer Keeley in, but you basically, a lot of you are saying to me you would like to see how I record vocals and how I produce them and how I affect, how I make them sound the way I do. So that will be there, vocal processing, and also drum processing, which you kind of covered in this one actually, because mostly with my drums, I tend to just use this New York compression. And also there'll be one coming up on phase issues, things being out of phase. So stay tuned for all of those. They're all coming up in the following weeks. With that being said, thank you for watching. It is much appreciated. I honestly, when I started this series, didn't really know really if people were going to be into it. But as it turns out, from the messages I'm getting from people, people are really enjoying them. So I'm really grateful for that. So anyway, I will stop waffling and I will catch you all in the next video. So peace.